Right. So, in today's session, I'm going to discuss about an entry orientation in context to the integration analyst role. Right. So, in context to the analyst role, because as and when now and then importance of configuration analyst and as well as integration analyst, irrespective of the domain and technology, as well as application, is becoming more important. Either it can be in integration analyst, either in the field of healthcare, it can be relating to the banking applications, or it can be in insurance, it can be of any domain, matter to the fact. At the same time, if you're talking about applications, it can be any core banking application or any facets applications in healthcare or any guideware uh, applications from the context of integration, right? So, role of integration analyst is becoming more important now and then for many of the job requirements. Integration is more or less like a technical thing, okay? Technical business analyst, more of integration. Because when we are managing applications in the organization level, for example, if you take healthcare, they use facets application to manage claim processing, benefit enrollments, etc. At the same time, we use property and casualty insurance, we use some guideware, etc. All that. So, in this regard, there are different applications which will be configured first. We have to customize the application according to the business rules and government mandates of the organization that we have to configure it. So once we have configured, we have to integrate. Integrate means, let's say, facets application, we are integrating with some any internal or external systems or any epic system, or we are integrating with some ERP applications or CRM applications, or else if you take guideware application, you are integrating with some other internal or external system. So integration plays a vital and important role. Normally, integration majorly taken care of by the development team, because API integration, everything they will be doing by creating web API, SOAP API, RESTful API. Right? So different APIs they will write as a what we call as an integration site. As a technical developers majorly focuses. But now and then, from the technical BA point of view, they may be asking you about the integration side, right? So how and what integration we are going to do, right? So what, as a business analyst, how you need to understand the systems integration. At the same time, you must having some knowledge over the problem solving skills or any kind of technical skills, some kind of orientation scenarios or something becoming essentially important to understand about different software systems and how are we communicating with each other or among all applications. At the same time, how crucial the business operations are. So you need to understand being an integration analyst from the entry orientation, because integration analyst training was already done so far, because but I already conducted integration training earlier. But this session I am taking is only for I am taking only for integration analyst entry orientation. But the detailed part of integration analyst that I already discussed about API, XML, web services, that part I have already discussed. Okay, you know that. So entry orientation, I am teaching it. Now, when it comes to the entry orientation, as a integration analyst, first of all, you must be knowing about scenario. Okay, different scenarios you need to know. So what are the different scenarios? Because when we go for an interview, people will ask you, right, what are the scenarios and how you are going to address that. That's something people is ask you. That's the reason why I'm giving you an explanation from the scenario point of view. For example, scenario I am taken especially for integration of requirements, because when you are integrating any application with any other external or internal systems, first of all, integration requirements as a BA, we need to select. For example, let me take an example. Let's say, for example, business wants to uh, have some new application wherein they wants to integrate with any existing ERP system. In this regard, so as a BA, what is that something you need to be focused more on? So in this part, as I mentioned you, repeating the same, you need to focus on the integration requirements wherein you have to gather the requirements, majorly focusing on the requirements from the identification of the stakeholders' point of view, understanding their needs. At the same time, we need to map what are the different business processes that will be impacted by the integration, and we have to define the kind of data flows, and as well as understanding what kind of data need to be exchanged, understanding the timing of data transfers, either it can be real time or it can be batch transfers or it can be scheduled transfers. At the same time, we must explain, or we should be in a position to explain about assessing of security and compliance requirements. Next, identifying of integration points, and as well as determining what are the different best methods that we are using. Either it can be API, in that API it can be RESTful API or something like, or it can be middleware technologies, or it can be flat files, etc. Everything you have to explain. So as a BA, because I have already given the training for integration analyst for you guys, so that it is easy for you, so that you can relate the scenario points over there. That is one thing. Next, key concepts you need to focus more on the requirement gathering part, integration of requirements I'm talking about. At the same time, how stakeholder management we do, because as last time I have explained you about stakeholder integration analysis and management using RACI matrix, all that. So that part you need to explain. At the same time, you should explain the data flow mapping, how the data flow first, and how you are mapping the data from one system to another system or among all the systems. The data mapping you need to explain in this scenario. Next, you have to explain the APIs and middleware. What are the different APIs we have used? For example, we have used RESTful API. Why are we using it? What are the middleware technologies we are using, followed by integration security requirements? This you need to explain. This is point number one. This is one scenario which I have explained. Now, next scenario. This is scenario number two, which I am explaining you. The scenario number two. Scenario number two, majorly, for example, scenario we have taken for integration of architecture and as well as design. Okay, for example, this is the scenario we have taken. Now, let's say if you are a BA, when we are designing, we as a team, okay, when we are designing an integration solution between two different systems and all. Let's say, for example, a CRM on a accounting system we are integrating, right? So when we are doing it, what kind of approach normally are we suggesting as a BA? Because we are providing a suggestion to the customer, to the user, so that development team, technical team has to be implemented accordingly. So that we should able in a position to demonstrate the kind of ability that being chosen between different integration strategies, like either it can be point-to-point integration, because these are all something best for simple or one-off connections, you know. Next, we need to discuss and we have to explain about middleware or enterprise service bus, something like ESBs, you know, because in integration I explained you what is ESB and how ESB works, functions, and all everything I have explained. If you know that. Next, we should explain about the kind of complex integrations with any kind of multiple systems, or what kind of real-time data exchanges or batch processing we are using to handle large amount of data in non-real-time scenario. Context to the APIs and all, right? So this is also you need to explain. Next, cloud-based integration, because most of the integrations now and then cloud applications we are using. So we must explain about cloud-based integration. What are the tools that we are using? Prominent tool, you know, MuleSoft integration we are using, or else it can be Delboomi. And what kind of integration strategy as a business analyst we have proposed. Okay, we have proposed and implemented, and how the ESB enterprise service bus that we have initiated, and how API we have initiated, and what are the middleware and real time versus batch processing that we have made. That even we need to explain. So these are the two different scenarios you have to explain as a integration analyst when you are going for interview orientation. And there are a couple of scenarios which I'm going to explain you, especially from the troubleshooting point of view, integration issues from the point of troubleshooting, or it can be relating to the data transformation, or it can be relating to handling of real-time versus batch processings, or it can be security or compliances and integrations, or API integrations. These are all the points for there. These points I'm going to discuss in the next session.